Hi all, Adi here from Haunts and Jaunts. I'm in deepest, darkest Sussex and I found another little church called Coombes Church. It's just by a farm here in the South Downs, so let's have a quick look around and see what's inside. And one of the first things we noticed is a Tapsell Gate. Now they're called Tapsell Gates from the family of carpenters who are known for making and maintaining these gates locally in West Sussex, and they pivot on a single vertical wooden post set into the ground, and supposedly it was hung that way to save money on metal hinges which would have been very expensive to replace and prone to rust. The origins of the church go back to the late Saxon period, around the late 11th century, not long after the Norman conquest, and as you can see here, it's got an entry into the Domesday Book. Much of what you see today dates from the early Norman era, and remarkably, the church has never been significantly rebuilt or modernised in the way that so many others were. And as we step inside, the first thing that strikes you is the simplicity. There's no elaborate Victorian decoration here, no layers of later restoration competing for your attention. Instead, the church feels calm, restrained, and incredibly old. And look at all that damp and mould. There's a beautiful old font here, and we'll also see the 11th century bell. One of the most extraordinary features though of Coombes Church is its medieval wall paintings. Now these paintings date mainly from the 12th and 13th centuries, and they weren't uncovered until 1949 after being hidden beneath layers of limewash for hundreds of years. Now, in the Middle Ages, wall paintings like these were not decorations in the modern sense, they were teaching tools, because back then most people couldn't read, so the walls of the churches became visual Bibles. Stories, saints and moral lessons were painted in large and clear pictures. On the west wall you can see what is believed to be part of a Doom painting, which is a powerful image of the Last Judgment. Doom paintings were traditionally placed at the west end of churches so that worshippers could see them as they left. It was a stark reminder of salvation, judgment, and the choices you made during your earthly life. Although time has faded these images, there's still a strong sense of movement and drama in the surviving fragments. You can see figures emerging from the plasters, and their expressions are still surprisingly vivid after centuries of wear. Along the north wall are other painted scenes, like depicting saints and biblical narratives, and the colours you see now, reds, ochres and soft earth tones, would have once been much brighter and illuminated by candlelight and daylight combined. It was a very overcast day when I was here, so I don't feel that it's kind of doing it justice. I'm sure on a bright sunny day they would have looked a lot more vibrant. What makes the wall paintings here extra special, it's not just their age, but it's the fact that they remain in the building they were created for. They haven't been removed or heavily retouched or restored. What you're seeing now is authentic medieval artwork in its original setting. Architecturally, the church is very simple. It just consists of a nave, a chancel divided by this plain chancel arch. Getting a bit of a close-up of those mind-blowingly old wall paintings. Aren't they beautiful? And you can also see some stone corbels here. They've got some faces on them, and I believe they are original from the 11th century. I couldn't find out that much information about them. What perhaps is the most striking thing about Coombes Church is really just how little it's changed. You can still see the blue paint down there. There's so few English churches like this because they were so heavily restored in the Victorian period, and sometimes that meant that they lost all their medieval features in the process. Coombes largely has escaped this, and I think its rural isolation has really protected it. And this is the Coombes crucifix, which was dug up in a field near the church and is currently on display in Chichester Cathedral. It's believed to be 12th or early 13th century and came from Limoges. Really interesting. So if you're ever in Chichester Cathedral, do check that out. And up here by the altar is a wooden monument chest. It's said to be 16th or 17th century, and back in the day these were where all the parish records would have been kept. I mean, there's still quite a few in there today. So it would have been locked and kept in the church. Nice to see one still out on display. Quite a few floor slabs, and I believe there's a vault underneath, but what really caught my eye was this piece of oak, and it's still got its mortises remains in position on the floor, and this indicates that there may have been like a screen or some gate separating the nave from the chancel. The earliest slab that I could read was dated 1686, I believe, and this one obviously did have a brass, but it's been stolen or lost, who knows. And another close-up of those wonderful paintings. And standing here, it wasn't hard for me to imagine the generations who have passed through here over the centuries, and the fact that this small building in rural Sussex has stood through conquest, plague, religious reform, and so much social changes. And just on the way out, I spotted this wonderful old information board. It's really hard to read, covered in mould, but it was lovely to see. And as I head back out into the porch, up by the door there is an old iron boot scraper. And I could just imagine how much use that would have had all those centuries ago, as the parishioners would have had to traipse across these fields of the South Down to get to church on a Sunday. I'm going to wrap today's video up. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoy it. It was an interesting little find. Little church at Coombes down by the River Ada. If you did like today's video, please do like and subscribe, and if you want to help support the channel, there's the Buy Me a Coffee link, or if there's a link directly to make a contribution to the church, I will include that in the description. So it's just starting to rain right on cue, so I shall see you for the next one. Bye for now.